I'm here with the one and only Tim Ripper Owens to talk about KKs Priest new record, The Sinner Rides Again, out September 29th on Napalm Records. How's things going with you?
It's good, buddy. How about you?
I'm doing good, but considering the backdrop behind you, the sun shining, the trees, the birds, I think you're doing much better than me.
Yeah, it's pretty nice today. Yeah, so I figured I'd sit outside and enjoy it.
Do it, because you know the weather is about to change, and then you're probably going to have some snow, or at least at the very least some fall and some cold weather down there.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So let's talk about this record, second album for the band. What changed for you from the first to this one? Was this a more difficult album? Was this a more challenging album? Was it easier?
I don't know. I don't really know. I think it was great. I recorded my vocals in my studio at my house this time, and I was able to take my time with it and add a lot more character to it, I felt. I think that's why it's more aggressive, really. I think the music's more aggressive, but I think vocally it's more aggressive on this record. Um, it both records were easy to do and fun to do, but I think the difference is we've gelled even more as a band with this one, and everybody's characters are coming out in this one.
From a business standpoint, is it a sophomore album a little bit more demanding than a debut record in terms of the expectations that are set from the debut album moving into the sophomore record?
It can be. I think this one could have been like that because the first one was received so well and it was reviewed so well that I think you want to make sure you follow it up with something that's just as powerful or more powerful, which I think this one, in my opinion, is better than the first one. So, but they put a little pressure on this one, I think, just because of that.
Do you guys put that pressure on yourselves, or is that pressure coming from the outside?
It's on ourselves. We just worry about what we want to do. At least that's how I am. I just think about what I want to do to make myself happy and know that I'm happy with it and that it's good. So I think it's really internal. You do it.
Before we talk about your vocals, let's talk a little bit about the structure and the sound of the album. I felt like this record had a very defined side A and a very defined side B. The experience slightly different from those two sides, even though there's definitely some commonalities that keep the whole record flowing. When you look at the album now, perhaps having taken a step back and you look at the experience of listening to the record, do you feel like the album has those two different experiences from side A to side B?
Well, I think, yeah, I think it's a lot like the first record where the second half of the record is a little more epic. I think it has a couple of the longer songs and the more epic kind of pieces. I think that's how a lot of records are structured anyways. They kind of end it with a lot more epic songs. This one starts off with a punch in the face and then it has a little bit of everything, I think it's done perfectly, but I think it still is structured kind of like the first record is with those songs at the end.
Having that more epic experience on the back end, what do you guys hope that offers to the listener who's going to sit down, press play, and go through first all the way to the last track?
Well, I think it just takes them for a ride. I mean, you put those headphones on or you sit in your car and listen to it. It just, as the record goes on, it just keeps coming. Even the epic songs are pretty heavy. Like they start off with this nice beginning and it's all nice. And then it just punches you right in the face as it goes on, especially Wash Away Your Sins. I mean, it's probably one of the best songs for me on the record. And it has that nice, it tells a story, even with the guitars. I mean, the beginning, the way it starts. And I think that's what you want to do with a record. You want it to just keep people sucked in to listen to it.
You mentioned the word heavy multiple times, and I got to admit, this album definitely sounds heavier, feels heavier. The vocals have a heavier impact than the debut album. Was that a conscious effort to move the needle or turn the knob all the way to 11?
Well, I think, Ken wrote the songs, and I think it probably was with his writing. I think he wanted to keep it still the same. He wanted to keep it in the same vein, but I think he probably wanted to add that. He's always written songs and challenged himself to change a little bit. But the great thing about this record is it still stays like that. But it's heavier. And on my point, I just got the material and started singing. I'm like, I just felt like the songs are perfect for me to go all at it, And for me, it was an effort to, once you start singing the songs, you just I just start singing them and it comes out, and that's just how it came out.
Yeah, you definitely didn't leave anything in the tank. At least that's the experience that I got from your vocal performance on this record. You went balls to the wall every single track.
Yeah, I let a lot go, and it's fun. I mean, I just love the vocals on this record, and it was such great stuff to work with, and I was lucky to have that to work with.
How was your working relationship with KK Downing? Like, how do you guys work on a record together?
Well, this one, he didn't want me to stay home. He wanted me to come to England, but I talked him into letting me stay home and record my vocals here. Um, it's great. The whole relationship period's great. It's always been great. We're great friends, and it's he's such an easy guy and a fun guy to work with. He is a total pro, but he's so fun and happy and treats everybody so great. So and with the stuff, he just sent it to me, and it was easy. Sometimes he'd be on video and we'd be chatting about it, and just fun stuff.
I think it's fair to say that when it comes to KK's Priest's essence, the two main pillars are the guitar playing and your vocals. Do you see it that way, as you guys being the main cornerstones of what the essence of this band is all about?
Well, I think everybody would think that. I mean, that the guitar playing and singing is a big powerhouse for the record, but now with this second release, the drums are just amazing. I think people being sucked into it is going to have that. It's Ripper and KK, right? I mean, that's what they're going to be sucked into. And then when all of a sudden they realize this is a band, I mean, listen to all these guys, AJ and Sean and Tony. I mean, everybody's so good, and the playing on this record is so good. So I think once they hear it, I think it becomes a whole group effort.
You've worked with some great musicians. When you look at the band, at the roster that you guys have now, does it take more than being just a great musician to be a great band member, to be a great person to work with? Does it go beyond just the musicianship?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we don't want some LA rock star. We want you want someone that you just want to be able to hang out and have fun and laugh, but you got to be a pro. I mean, the biggest part is you've got to be a pro, man. You've got to be. The music has to be the number one thing, not going out or drinking or whatever. Everything's got to just the music, your performance. It's got to be it, and everybody in this band is, we're such good friends, and it's so great that, their main concern is playing.
Having that as your main concern and being music the main goal, when you guys are working on a certain track, do you guys allow each other to comment on each other's work in order to get the song to where you as a group want that song to go to?
Well, even if you don't like it, it's going to happen. So, I mean, I try my hardest to do really good and not have it come back and say, hey, let's change this. But it happens. I mean, you have to be able to tell someone, hey, you should try this or do that, or, because everybody hears different things in their head.
Was it difficult to pick the singles? Because when I listened to this record, every song could have been a single. Was it a struggle to pick which songs you guys wanted to lead out the promotion of the album?
To me, it was. I don't think it was. I think One More Shot at Glory was the perfect opening song. I think it's so good and so strong. And I think the three we've released in this first order has just been perfect. It is hard. You want to, obviously Strike of the Viper was a no-brainer because it's short and it's just a punch in the face. And I think it's a no-brainer to release as a single for people to hear. But I think each one of these songs shows a little bit of the whole album. One More Shot at Glory, it's pretty epic and a lot of changes. And then Reap the Whirlwind's more, it's still big and epic, but more straight and faster, So, I think these were the perfect songs to release.
When you received the material, the material impacted the way you approached it vocally. So how do you work your vocals when it comes to these tracks? Like, what's your thought process when it's time to record, when it's time to put vocals to the track?
Well, I just go to my studio here at the house, and I sit and I just start singing with it, and then I'll layer it. A lot of times I put a higher one and a lower one or a middle one, so there's all kinds of vocals, and then, you know, I just build it to tell a story, not even with the lyrics, but I like to tell a story with my sound of my voice, the character of my voice. You know, I learned so much growing up in music with Dio and David Bowie and John Oliva that uh that's how I always looked at them. They always kind of told stories with the sound of their voice and not even necessarily the lyrics.
This is the perfect segue because to me, one of the songs that I enjoy the most from a storytelling perspective was Keeper of the Graves. What a track. It's one of my favorites on the record. And I think the reason why is because of the way you tell that story, not just from a lyrical standpoint, but the way you use your voice. How was that track for you?
It's great. Yeah, I mean, it's one of my favorites, and hopefully we'll make like a lyric video out of that one. Yes, it starts off with that, and just um it's just a great song. I mean, the way the vocals are and the way the music is. You know, when you have music that does that, it's easier to do your vocals like that too. So, yeah, it's one of my favorites as well. I think it's just an epic song.
Outside of the singles, is there any other track that really stands out to you as a song that you would look forward to performing it live?
Again, Wash Away Your Sins. I think the last song on the record. I think it's the one I would love to do, um, and maybe you know, maybe live, maybe not, but I think that it's such a great song. I mean, the verses, the way the verses go is just killer, man. It's just a punch in the face, and uh, it's probably the one I like the best.
When you look at this album, when you look at your vocal performance, is the Tim of today that's recording this record obviously a different Tim of the past? But could an album like this sound as good unless you had this evolution of experiment of working and just growing as a singer? Do you see yourself as looking at this record as a result of your own personal journey?
Probably not. I mean, I look back on records I did like Winter's Bane, and everybody's like, yeah, vocals are so great. And I hear the Winter's Bane record, I go, oh, you know, it could be so much better because I sound like a kid. There's not nearly the emotion that there should be, the rough, the gruff, the layers. And now I think, you know, I've been doing it for 30 years, and people always will say, you sound like this, you try to sound like this. It's like, no, I'm Ripper Owens. I've been doing it for 30 years. I mean, I don't think I sound like anybody. I don't think there's anybody that sounds like me. And now it's even different, you know, there's more edge and feeling and gruff. And I definitely don't think this record would have been the same without all the years of me doing it.
Is that an instrument that you're still working on? Do you feel like there's still more for you to add to your arsenal, if you will?
Oh, absolutely. I'm always trying to be better and trying to do something different and add to it. You always want to, you know, you always want to be better. So my main goal is as a musician is to blow people away, whether on stage live or on a record. And, you know, I'm always trying to be better.
Well, on this album, you're phenomenal. And that takes me to my last question for you is what's next for you guys? The album comes out September 29th, Napalm Records. What's the plans? What do you guys have in store?
Well, we're trying to put shows together. You know, we're getting ready to tour in the UK, and we're playing Malta. And we're really trying to put shows and tours together. So I know TKO is our agency. So I think that's the big one for us. You know, it's expensive to tour nowadays. It's not as easy to tour nowadays, especially when you want to take out the right package, the right stage show, the right pyro and all the stuff, the right stages. So it's hard to put this together with what we want to take out. But that's the goal. The goal is just to get out in the world and tour.
So can we dream here in North America to see you guys maybe in 2024?
Well, absolutely. You know what I mean? I know they're always looking at that. So I don't see how it couldn't happen. You know, everybody keeps saying they want it and they don't. And believe me, people, we are working on it. You know, the agency's working on trying to get it together. You know, you get the right package, the right bands, the right this, that, and the other, and it could do it. But again, it's so expensive to tour. I don't think people realize that, you know. But America and all over the world, everywhere we want to hit.
Yeah, people don't realize how much prices of everything has gone up. Gas, the rental of the buses, the vans, the drivers. I mean, everything is really like like the world wasn't difficult before. It's gotten a lot more difficult now for bands to be on the road and to be successful on the road and be profitable, perhaps more important on the road. So it's hitting everybody's pockets for sure.
Yeah, it has.
Well, Tim, thank you very much for your time, man. You guys have an outstanding record on your hands. Pretty soon will be on everybody's hands. I love this album. I love your performance. Just blew me away. Great record all around.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Thanks, Pedro.
All the best, man. All the best. And I hope to see you soon.
All right, buddy. Thank
Take
you.
care, man.
All right, thanks. Bye.